Hi, everybody. I'm Dave McClelland, and I want to welcome you to Power TV and a real treat. We're going to have the opportunity to explore not only the past, but the present and hopefully the future of some really great automobiles and certainly some great people. Allow me to introduce you first to Mr. Bert Bachman, the president of Galpin Ford, the world's largest Ford dealership, and particularly in the case of specialty cars. Located in Southern California, he's got the entire market covered with some really great Ford automobiles. And to my left is seated the legendary Carroll Shelby. Now, everybody knows Carroll, but nobody knows Carroll, because Carroll can tell you some stories that'll just absolutely leave you laying in the aisle laughing. But we're here today to talk about Bert Bachman and Carroll Shelby's relationship. Let's start with Shell. How did you and Bert first meet?
In 1963, I think it was, 64, Lee Iacocca was at my house, and Mr. Bachman had just been in the Ford business a short time, fairly short time then, and Lee Iacocca had already recognized him as a genius in the marketing of the Ford products, of not only Ford products, but whatever he sells, he's a genius. So they were at my house, and we sat there. That's where I met Bert, and Lee Iacocca says, "You want to make sure that you do business with this man because he's great."
Well, you guys teamed up selling cars through a new car dealership that were really somewhat specialty automobiles. That was a bit unique in those days.
Oh, yeah. Shelby had a great reputation in racing, and he came out with a fun car. It was a car I didn't drive. Frankly, it was too damn quick for me. But our people loved it. Our customers loved it. It had everything that they were looking for in a racing car.
How'd you come up with the idea of taking a stock off the showroom floor car and make it into something special?
I wasn't the first that did that. Sidney Allard done it in England. 2 or 3 other people had done it. I had a deal with General Motors that fell apart when Ed Cole gave me 3 Corvettes to convert. So Ray Brock at Hot Rod Magazine said Ford has a new thin wall cast iron engine, and they're looking for something to do to get it some recognition. So about that time, AC Cars in England, they lost their engine contract. So I went to Iacocca. He was just sales manager, Ford division then. And I said, if you'll loan me $25,000, I'll build you a car that will probably blow the Corvettes off in the weeds. And he told Don Fry, he said, we better give this guy $25,000 before he bites somebody. So that was the beginning of it. And then we started building a few of the cars in England, and Bert and Bob Tasca on the East Coast were the 2 people that got behind it, and if they hadn't gotten behind it, probably nobody would have ever heard of the Cobra.
All right, now that details the Cobra, but he also took some regular cars and made them into something special.
Everything he's done has been special. He's really done outstanding when it comes to speed or performance. He'd be our selection, and of course today, he's a favorite of all the Ford dealers. His car line's been extremely important to the Ford dealers.
You also were in the forefront of offering dealer-installed options, and they run the gamut from Paxton superchargers to Bear brakes and all things in between. Did you find that to be worthwhile?
Oh, yes. In fact, those names go back to the 60s with us. Paxton, Bear, they were outstanding products.
Well, needless to say, Ford's bounced back once again, tying in with Shelby, and there's new Shelby Mustangs out on the marketplace.
That's right. After 40 years, here we are back with the Mustangs. The original Mustang, Bert was a part of that. We had the Mustang, and it was recognized as a secretary's car. Lee Iacocca called me, and he says, my guys have flunked out trying to turn this into a sport car. Could you do it? I says, oh, my God, you can't make a mule outrun a racehorse. So we took that thing, and He said, send me a budget, what you need to build some prototypes. So I put a budget of $15,000 together, sent it into his bean counter, and they sent me back $1,500. Says that's what you get to build a car. Typical, right? In the automobile business. We put the car together. I really didn't want to do it in the beginning because I was afraid that it would be a failure, but when one of them sold for $1.3 million the other day that we sold originally for $3,900, I guess it wasn't such a failure. However, we were a little short on horsepower along there, and Bert and a couple of more of us got together and said, how about a Paxton supercharger? So we put that on the little 289 engine and boosted it up another 100 horsepower, which put it ahead of the Corvette again. That was before the 427 Ford came along. So it's been a long, fruitful relationship between both of us.
All right, here we are now in 2008, and there's a new Shelby Mustang. What's the difference between it and 1965?
They still have Paxton superchargers. So we're still right there, and the difference is that they ride a lot better. The muscle cars of the 60s would go pretty good in a straight line, wouldn't stop, wouldn't go around the corner, but they'd go like hell. The cars today are 3 or 10 times the car that the cars were back then. It took 25 years of electronic work to make them work like they do today.
We must say then that you've got to be very happy to be able to offer a Shelby Mustang off the showroom floor at Galpin Ford.
From the first time it was mentioned at Ford that they were looking at coming out with the Shelby again, he had 100% support from the Bachman family, I'll tell you. That's the reason they're in full demand today. They're sold out 100% today. There is no inventory on them today. That's how hot they are. People love it. He's been a visionary. He's our legend. He's got your superchargers. He's got the great brakes. Everything works right. So we're having a lot of fun.
You've probably carried this a whole lot farther than most any dealer in the country with the opening of Galpin Auto Sports. Your son, Bo Bachman, runs that division of the operation, and it's attaining its own fame as well.
Yes, that's true. You know, he got hooked into that Pimp My Ride. Had to do a lot of rebuilding there. And while he was, before he had started doing that, he had the concept for a Galpin Auto Sports, a one-place stop where you can get everything you want. So we have something that only exists in one location. That's at Galpin, which is Galpin Auto Sports, or as we call it, Gas. So he has something there that is so unique, tremendous demand on business. And, of course, one of those brands that we love to carry is Shelby. It's been a wondrous relationship. It's wonderful to see that growth. So we love it. My son's extremely bright in what he's pulled off there, and we've had a lot of fun. And that's really what it's about.
All right. He's called you a visionary. Let's look into the future. What does Carroll Shelby have in store for the automotive world in the future?
Well, as I said, it's awfully hard to buy a bad car now. And, you know, we're in a horsepower race. The Germans thought they were going to win it, but they ain't. So horsepower, 300 horsepower is enough for a car, isn't it? But that's not enough to sell to a certain small market. And so Bert and I together are going to kick the hell out of them.
All right. Well, your medical record has been historically documented. You are an amazing man, I must say. And is there any end to Carroll Shelby's involvement in the world of automobiles? I mean, most people would be taking time and enjoying life. You've got a beautiful wife and all the opportunities in the world to do what you want to do. And here we are, still pumping out cars.
I'll be 85 in January, and I hope we're just starting. I hope at 100, Bert and I are still here building and selling cars together.
Has it been fun?
It's fun every morning getting up. You got to look forward to it. You got to have a passion in life, and Bert and I found it.
Do you look back a lot? Do you reminisce about what some folks call the good old days?
No, I'll tell you how I look at it. People ask me, what is my favorite car? And it's been the same thing for 45 years, the next one.
That's the best answer you can give. Carroll, we thank you very much for your time. I know you're busy here at the SEMA show, but it has been an honor and a pleasure to talk with you.
We've done it a lot of years, and I hope it's a lot more years. You're the best.
Thank you, sir, and I certainly enjoy it. Bert Bachman and Galpin Ford, all the best to you and Son Bo and the gas project, and keep it going and keep those Mustangs flowing.
Thank you, and thank you for having us visit with you. It's wonderful to be here with Carroll.
Thank you, and thanks for joining us right here on Power TV.